I'm not really sure, but I think they were introduced post 2013 in Nagaland, one of the Nagaland constituencies.
All right. Was that instance from your college life whereby a professor who was not so good, right? And you gave that example as leadership of yours, right? But you
Yes.
went against the democratic opinion of your own classmates. They were in majority, they had a view of point, and you went against it. So is leadership against democracy? What is leadership versus democracy, if I may put it like this? What's your view on that?
Yes. So, firstly, I did not impose my view on them. I tried to pursue them, and they were pursued because sometimes there may be instances when majority may also get swayed by some popular opinion and they don't use their own brain and they are influenced by the popular culture or like some of the things which are not right. So leader can persuade the majority. He cannot impose his will, but if the majority or the whatever I should say democracy, the people of the democracy, they get they get convinced that their leader is right. So I think this
All
is
right.
what happened.
So if you are made a SDM, right, and you do not agree with the particular cultural practices of the people or
Yes.
a viewpoint they have or the decision that they make, so would you consider it that these people do not have brains and it might be so that you think that you are right, they are wrong, right? How are you going to handle that kind of a situation?
Yes.
Because you come from a different state also, your culture and the people that you may come and work with, they might have different culture, right? So how what is the deciding factor, what considerations do you take to decide like who is right and who is wrong?
So, firstly, I believe each and every section or people have their own cultures, and I have a huge respect for their culture. So, sir, I would restrain myself from interfering from the culture of the people. But if the culture has significant impingement on the rights or other moral things, then certainly I cannot assume anything that there may be many factors that they have these practices. Maybe they are not aware of something and they have their own culture, they have own historical culture. So I cannot impose what I think right or wrong on them, but I can certainly try to persuade them and reason with them. And I would reason with them, and if something of their culture has impingement or like for example it has influence on the morality or other things of the place or people.
All right. uh, could you name a few GI tag products of Bihar?
Yes. I think it's Katarni rice from Bhagalpur and Jardalu mango and so Madhubani paintings have also been given GI tag. So these are the
All right. Could you name three PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups from Bihar?
so I'm not really sure if there are PVTGs in
All right. Okay, so moving on. Uh, why is Lokpal required?
Bihar. In a country as large as India, where there is democracy and representing will of different peoples and different states, so and the coalition government, there is a need for check and balances in the government. Uh, Lokpal is required to ensure there are enough checks and balances in the government.
What kind of checks and balances does the Lokpal provide? Do we not have enough mechanisms like the judiciary or other investigative bodies that were earlier existing. There was CBI, right? There is police, there are street police. Do we do not trust those institutions? Why do we need a separate new institution for
So
any
because
problem? Why do we suggest to make a new institution and hope that the problems will go away? Why do we not reform our earlier institutions, right?
yes, sir. Uh, So because the most of the investigating agencies they work under the governments. Moreover, judiciary has its own scope of interference in the government. There has been separation of power in our government. So, Sir Lokpal is required to check into the personal cases of breach by the leaders and the the people who hold the possession of power. So, sir, I think this is the reason.
Okay. So, as an SDM, what will be your three most important priorities? What sectors would you like to work upon and why?
Yes. So, firstly, as an STM, I would like to work in three major sectors as my priority. My first priority would be education. So I would make sure that all the schemes and the programs of the government are properly implemented, and I would also introduce an element of technology wherever it can be introduced to better deliver the services. Because the education is the core sector and it has multiplier effect in all the other sectors because of the people, because it is the way of empowering the people and making them capable. Because if we improve the education of an area, the people will themselves be able to realize that whatever is what is good for you and wherever they want to progress. Secondly, sir, I would like to work on health sector, because the health sector in Bihar is not that up to the mark, and we have seen in the COVID that the importance of the health sector. And the thirdly, sir, I would like to work for the women empowerment. The Bihar has been making strides in women empowerment, and it has been implementing various schemes. For example, Mukhyamantri Kanya Uthan Yojana, and it has this quota reservation, horizontal system of reservation for women. So I would make sure that these schemes are properly implemented and people are made aware, and the element of
All
patriarchy
right,
is
all right,
counted.
all right. Uh, Tell me name a few empowered women from Bihar, prominent personalities, women personalities from Bihar, and also mention a few schemes on education that you right now mentioned that you will be better implementing. So, state Bihar's uh, schemes that are there for the education sector.
So, firstly, sir, if we talk about empowered women of Bihar, then there are a series of Madhubani painters from Bihar whose efforts have been recognized not only in India but in the world as well. For example, I think so. Her name is Dulari Devi ji. She has been given Padma Shri this year, and the second one of the women is Dulari Devi,
Your
Sita
voice is not
Devi.
clear.
Sir, am I
Hello.
audible now? Hello, hello.
Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's fine. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Go on, please.
So, sir, these are the some women. Moreover, sir, I also, when I was seeing the election, I was following the elections. I saw one of the PM candidate. Sorry, sir, I'm not exactly able to recall her name, but she formed her own party in Bihar. She came from some foreign university, and she tried to be a leader in Bihar. So she is also one of the example of empowered women. And so if we talk about schemes, then so the schemes which focuses on education. Firstly, so the Mukhyamantri Balika Cycle Yojana, which was the first scheme started by Nitish Kumarji government. It significantly increased the enrollment rate of girls in Bihar. secondly is the Kanya Uthan Yojana. It follows a life cycle approach, and also empowers and uh, strengthens the education of women. Thirdly, sir, in the Sat Nishchay, they have introduced the scheme of providing 25,000 to a girl who passes class 12th and 50,000 to the girl who graduates. So this can significantly increase the enrollment in higher education.